Hello, Z. Z, what can I help you with tonight?
To be honest with you, my cannabis use has led me to feeling hopeless. And currently, I'm in a situation where a lot of things are at stake for me that are pretty heavy hitters, like my stability, my
Yep.
finances, my housing. And I feel really ridiculous, right? Because you would think that if you're making decisions and it's leading to risking those things, then you would just stop. Right. And make the right decision. One thing I did realize last night is that one of my hugest reasons for using cannabis is the fact that it allows me to not take accountability for where I am, right?
Yep.
And I've realized after looking at certain segments of my life, I actually do not like where I am. And so being high allowed me to not care about that anymore, even though that's exactly what I need to be doing. And so I'm just riddled with anxiety. And I know I need to make that choice. And then when I make it, I don't even have the words to describe it to you. It's like an emptiness, but there's like a blurry TV. You know, like when TVs
Mm-hmm.
have no reception. It feels like that.
I got you. So first things first, you are extremely articulate. I can just tell by 30 seconds of speaking to you that you're very smart. And I know you're going to figure this out. I just know you are. Irrelevant of what we accomplish right now. Okay. So first of all, right off the bat. Okay. Now, beyond that, I got some other stuff for you. I also don't think you're nuts, or I don't think it's a problem. Most people that we work with have things going on, like major stuff is at stake. So it's like, why would someone keep consuming a drug if all this stuff is at stake, right? There must be something wrong with this person. Not at all, because you answered it for me. You very clearly said, I use cannabis because the emotions of dealing with where I'm currently at right now are very overwhelming and uncomfortable, and cannabis takes the edge off of that for me. So despite the fact that you have these major things going on, I'm not talking to someone right now who's unreasonable or someone who I think is nuts to do that. It makes perfect sense. Now, if you had said to me, look, there's no reason for this, there's no reason I'm consuming cannabis, there's literally nothing, I'd be like, okay, you're making a crappy choice. But in your case, you're just doing what you know how to do to cope with the current situation, right? To manage the current situation. As far as this goes, okay, so you don't like where you're at. Is there possibility of changing where you're at with stopping the consumption of cannabis, or do you feel like your situation is permanent?
You know what? If I'm being truthful, right? And I think when you use cannabis for a long time, you really just want to believe the lie, right? Like one thing that I've learned with my relationship with cannabis is there's a consistent promise, right?
Yep.
Of being high. That when I think about sobriety, I realize that I haven't lived in sobriety enough to even witness the potential promises there. You know, one thing I do know that would change for a fact is my finances. I know for a fact my finances would be better.
Yep.
You know, and then on top of that, brain fog is such a huge thing for me. I could be making better decisions, have a better stance in health. It affects me socially as well.
I'm going to point out something else right now. I don't think you've done a good job convincing me that cannabis is making you comfortable with where you're at and not facing things, because you very clearly are aware of the things that you want to change and the challenges that you're facing. I don't think cannabis is having as powerful as a numbing effect as you initially described it to have on your conversation. So my point is this: based on my immediate conversation with you right now in these 2 minutes, it sounds like you're already uncomfortable. So like, if you're going to be uncomfortable either way, just quit cannabis. Like, you might as well quit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, F it. Like, you might as well be uncomfortable trying to get better finances, trying to get your relationships better. Like, if you know that you're going to have better finances right off the bat, like, finances are important, right? And like reality, finances can change a lot of things for people. And listen, I'll say something else too. When you talk about brain fog, are you worried about it from a career standpoint or from a work standpoint or just in general?
Well, guess what? I'm worried about it from not only a personal and career standpoint, because right now, this is the thing, is that I know that I am capable of so much more than what I'm doing with my life right now. Just to be transparent, like, I'm minimum wage, you know,
Sure.
I'm out here barely making it. And the interactions I have with people, right, you know, they tell me things repeatedly, you know, and I know that I could capitalize off of that. But I'm also very scared for the future medically.
So one thing that I don't want you to, hopefully you can avoid doing, is getting too tied up in the physical health anxiety. Because what happens? Someone's consuming cannabis or smoking cigarettes or drinking. They get really, really anxious about the physical health stuff. And how do you deal with anxiety right now when you're super anxious? Consume a little bit of cannabis, maybe? You know, so try and focus more on like the positive outlooks of stopping than the potential negatives of if you don't stop. As you quit, I would look more towards the positives than trying to force yourself into quitting out of fear. I have a question for you if it's not too personal. You're 26. Do you have like ideas as far as like where you want to take your finances and your career and all that stuff, or what directions you're looking to go, hopefully?
With most people who have dreams, I feel like when you express your dream, people are like, okay, well, what are you really going to do? Right. So I finally come up with, I guess, direction in a way of what I'd like to do that's more so realistic. And then I also have something that I do feel like I was born to do. I really care for people, and I am fairly expressive. I'm good at writing and expressing and reading and those things. I would try to be something that can help people. I honestly have thought about using the experience that I'm going through potentially as a field to get into, just because I really have a heart for it and a true understanding. But also, I actually work in the fashion industry, and
Awesome.
I do campaigns and modeling and brand
Awesome.
deals sometimes and things like that. But the disappointing thing about that is that I've flirted with the possibility so much, Frank. Like, imagine you're taking the right steps, you're meeting the right people, and then you just fall off.
Sure.
And everybody knows what you're capable of, so some see it through. But, I feel like I sabotage myself in that way. And that's another reason why I want to take a step towards sobriety and commit to it, because I know I could be better than I am now.
As far as sabotaging yourself goes, again, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. I don't think you're just self-sabotaging yourself. I think you are just retreating back to what you know and what's comfortable. And I wouldn't call that self-sabotage. I'd say this person is doing what they feel, what they think is comfortable, which is defaulting back to cannabis consumption, back to their current job. As far as for caring for other people, most people I interact with who consume cannabis or other substances are very empathetic and they're very caring towards others. A lot of times people talk about addiction, they're like, it's selfish, it's selfish. I have yet to meet a selfish person that I've worked with who's addicted to something. It's typically the opposite. They're taking care of everyone but themselves. I think the biggest thing when it comes to taking care of others is putting yourself first. Putting yourself first financially, physically, mental health wise. I was never able to do any of this and take care of people to the capacity I am today until I started to put myself first. I just know that if I'm not first and I'm not functioning, I can't do crap for other people. And I can't do anything because I'm falling apart. How am I going to help someone walk if I have 2 broken legs? It's not going to happen. So I think this is a cool opportunity for you to do that and really open up into helping other people. I think you could totally crush this. I really do. You give it a few months, you give it a little bit of time here, I think you could radically change where you're at.
Thank you so much. I just have to say thank you so much. I'm so thankful that I caught the live. I actually set the notification up to get
Awesome.
it, so thank God for that.
Well, listen, it was a pleasure talking to you. I hope to hear from you again on a future live, and I hope to hear some positive updates from you.
Oh, I'm definitely coming back. You've got a reoccurring customer.
That's excellent.